pass to Johnson. Johnson still going. Dummies again. Johnson. Into the one to Roudn. Roudn goes in to score.
Oh, he's serving it down the touchline. Oh, this is unbelievable. They're going to win it. Oh, what scenes here, what scenes. LeBron James, a shot in history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
We're on. Feb is here, which means footy is back. First team list Tuesday in the books, fizzing for Friday night code with the Warriors taking centre stage to kick things off, as it should be, less than 3 weeks out from Vegas as well. It's all go, crazy time. Super Rugby pre-season week 1 done. We're a week out from that kicking off. You got the NBA, the trade which stopped the sporting world, arguably the biggest trade in NBA history as well. Super Bowl this weekend. Izzy, unfortunately, copping an L last week, but we've got UFC 312 this week. She's all go in the world of sports, so plenty to cover off today. Speaking of the Super Bowl, if you are having a punt on that this weekend, make sure you get around the TAB, fire up the app or their website. If you're not already a customer, sign yourself up. They've got so many options, about 3 or 4 pages of pigskin punting for you if you are a purist. Even if you're a casual, you can punt on things like the coin toss if you think it's going to be heads or tails. So have yourself a cheeky flutter, add an extra element to that game on Monday. And cheers, as always, to the TAB for getting around Surly Talk Sports. We've got an interview coming up as well with Naitoa Ah Kuoi, of course, Chiefs, Bay of Plenty, and All Blacks 15 lock. So let's get straight into that, kick things off with our yarn to him. Oh, cheers for jumping on. Obviously, we're going to talk footy and whatnot because there's a lot coming up and you guys actually laced up the boots last weekend. But before that, the fun stuff, summer's just been, I've watched you're fishing, you went to Luke Combs, you did your first R&V. How was your summer overall, bro?
Summer was good, bro. It was a good balance of fishing, training, festivity. You can say festivities and family. So yeah, did a bit of this, did a bit of that. Was lucky enough to be in your presence over a couple of days in Gizzy, which was life changing probably. Spent a bit of time in Taupo with my kids, which was nice, and then yeah, I'm back in footy now, which feels like it was ages away since we played, like since then, because we played a game already, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we're just in now.
Well, you mentioned it was life-changing. I don't know if you meant Gizzy or my presence. Hopefully it was Gizzy. It was
Yeah,
it was
it was
my
both,
10th.
bro.
My 10th, your first, bro. How was it?
It was fun, man. It was I came in with very high expectations because I've been sold the dream, and went in. It was raining for a period of time, but I just said, hey, whatever comes of it comes of it. And yeah, it's gonna be hard to not go every year now, I reckon. I got to get it on a sunny day. Yeah, I got to get on a sunny day to truly experience, what it's really, really about.
Right, it's unbeatable. Although I got to say that one was good fun. It's more the crew you're with than anything
Mm,
else. But
mm,
no, that was a good start, bro. Preseason, obviously you guys laced up on the weekend, but I wanted to go back into more like the training side of things because it's been a hot summer and your guys' socials look pretty brutal. I saw you had to run a Bronco not long after the Christmas break.
yeah,
How's
yeah,
training been, bro? Because no doubt the lads are fired up, right? That's back-to-back
yeah.
finals now.
Yeah, no, training's been good. Yeah, like you said, back-to-back finals losses, so the motivation's always going to be there. But no, it's been good. It's been hot. We trained yesterday, it was about 29 degrees. So getting amongst the heat has been fun. But we're back now, I guess, playing footy. So which changed with everything. It used to just be Monday to Friday, you die,
Mm.
but now it's you're going into game week. So yeah, it's fun being back playing games. Yeah, last week was fun playing in Taranaki.
How much of a relief is it? Like you said, like it's footy focus, right? The
Yeah,
real like grind of fitness is done. Mid-season, you just do top ups, but the
yeah,
tough
yeah.
shit's done now. You just get to play.
Well, 100%. And yeah, you when you go to preseason and well, like when there's no games, you just feel like there's no end in the week.
Yeah.
And you like people talk about, oh, what are you doing like on the weekend? I'm like, bro, I can't even get through this day. Like I got to get through the day before I even think about anything. But now that you're in game weeks, it's just normal sort of scheduling. Training is not as hard. You're just doing more rugby content. So Oh, it's nice being back, bro. 100%.
In terms of like training, are you like a big gym guy, a big fitness guy? Do you not enjoy that stuff? Because some people just eat it up, eh? Some people like that more than games, the weirdos.
100%. What am I? Fuck. I'd say I do love it. I do love to train. To say that I love fitness is probably just a bit of a stretch, but you know when you're just like, because we train alone. I train alone in the off season, so when you're with people, it's just more enjoyable, and you're just dying together,
Yeah.
and you're just that's how we get. That's what sort of the focus of the preseason was, to get connections through being in a dark hole with each other. So I've just been dying, but the guy left me around me, but dying too. So it's nice to just be in those dark places with everyone. But yeah, I could gym. I love a gym. Don't mind the gym. Not to say that my numbers are big
Yeah.
and my fitness levels aren't miraculously I don't know the word for it. But yeah, no, I get around it. Shit, I'll eat it up.
What's your Bronco time, bro? What do you run post R&V? That's the real question.
Uh yeah. That's a good question. I ran just over 5 minutes.
Oh, that's good,
Which
bro.
is nah.
Hey.
It was I'll try to get sub 5, which I did a couple years back, and then last year I got just straight on 5. But we've all put on weight, so they told us to get a bit of beef on to well, because if you see the last final we played last year,
Hmm.
sort of got bullied. So they've asked us to get bigger, which is I'm saying that's what affected my Bronco. I don't know if it's the shift in my off season summer and what I actually got up to, but
Sounds
yeah,
logical,
just
bro.
over 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
sounds
That's
logical.
what helps me sleep at night, bro.
And then gym stuff, bro. Like, is it true? Because I was talking to a shooter once. He reckons Cortez benches like 180 kegs. Is that facts?
Bro, that's facts, bro. I don't know what he benches, but he benches like what the front row bench. More, actually more. He's in a league of his own. I watched him yesterday. We had to do like triples of like 80% of our um max for like power. And he was doing like I think he was doing like 130 and just boom. I was like, it's so impressive to watch him, bro, because he's so small in stature.
Yeah.
He just eats it. It's actually fucked. Yeah.
He
Can I
must
swear
be
on this
like,
thing?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Pound for
fuck.
pound, bro. He must be one of the strongest guys in New Zealand rugby, let alone like New Zealand sport.
Literally, man, I've never seen anyone that small in stature bench that much. It's crazy, bro. It's actually crazy.
That's hectic. And then Bronco wise, who, because there's always someone who just goes out the gate. Who was it? Xavier Rowe a couple years back. D Max always solid, but
Yeah, we had Charlie Sinton, who's fresh out of high school. He ran a 4:21, I think.
oh, sharp.
So he was all good, but I think the like Xavier was in the 4:20s. Leroy Carter, who's come in, was a 4:28, 4:28 bomb. Just sitting with this my
Oh,
flatmate.
there you go.
It's 4:28, 4:28. So yeah, those guys are in the league of their own. They just I don't know how to do it. So yeah, there's a few guys who are in the 20s. No one in the teens, but last year I think Zave and Cortez were in the teens. But yeah,
That's crazy. It
I
seems
think so.
like every year too, the gap gets smaller and smaller in the off season. Like, what you were a part of the All Blacks 15, so you probably finished in
Mm,
December, and then a few weeks later
mm,
you're lacing up again. Is that? Do you reckon that's long enough of a break? I know the AB's boys got a little bit more extended,
mm,
but it
yeah.
seems as a fan like we've just finished and now you're already starting again.
Bro, that's the same. Like we will finish, and then I'll like go back to Wellington, and then like finish the base season, go back to Wellington, and then a week later, the trainer will be calling me, "Hey, look, we got this for the preseason." I'm like, bro, I literally just came off the season, blah blah blah, and they're already into it. But
Hmm.
I mean, it seems really short. It probably is quite short, to be fair, and you're just back into it. But by the time it gets to like, I reckon by the time it gets to January, you're just like, oh, I'm excited to get back into it. It's the pre-Christmas stuff. You're like, holy hecker, because you know there's no games, and that's usually the hardest part of the
Hmm.
preseason is pre-Christmas. It's just a hiding after a hiding.
Yeah, that's a grind. That's a grind. It's the first preseason game on the weekend, and those are games often where some guys put their hand up who perhaps are getting
Mm.
an opportunity early doors or whatnot. Was there anyone like that for you guys? Has there been anyone that's a bit of a young up and comer that's impressed in preseason?
I reckon Leroy Carter like bump here,
Yeah.
but he's just impressive. He's a bloody Olympian. Um, he's been unreal. I was pretty flabbergasted by the way he's come in this season and just taking the taking taking what's he taking? Taking his opportunity.
Mm.
Because he's a nine and a winger, and I think he played both positions
Holy.
on Saturday. And fuck, he just ripped up. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
handy, right? That's the
yeah.
ultimate
Oh, bro,
bench cover right there.
literally, yeah, yeah. And he's like, well, I've seen it because I play for the Steamers and I watch him, but I'm excited for it to be super and hopefully he gets a chance to play because then everyone's going to be like, holy hecker, where's this guy come from? But
Yeah.
man, if you've been watching the Bay games,
Yeah.
you would have seen. That's why they call him Bumper.
Carved up for sure and definitely deserves his opportunity. I mentioned before the All Blacks lads are pretty fresh back. Do you
Yeah,
guys get dark on them? Because they literally rock up at the best possible time
bro.
of the season. Like, I was spraying Shooter the other day because he rocks up in week 4, which is even better. But
Shooter's running his own fucking race. I don't know. Shooter's doing Shooter's thing.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. Do we get dark? Nah. It's a good life for them. They deserve it.
Mm,
It's fucking. It just makes you want to become an All Black more because you missed the tough part of preseason. But it's good when they come back in. Every time they come back in, it sort of just levels everyone up really,
mhm.
and it's cool to have that come in and you see the real young guys come and then have that sort of experience come in. It's pretty cool, bro. Yeah.
First game of the season next week, and it's a grand
Mm.
final rematch. Like, you couldn't write a better script. Is that one when the draw came out straight away? You're like, "You beauty,
Yeah,
get
100%.
redemption."
Yeah, no flipping. Like everyone's you've still got that in the back of your mind.
Mm,
You know, once that game was over in the super season, even throughout the whole base season, I was just like, fuck, I want this game back.
yeah,
And everyone's been thinking that, and especially once we've come into the Chiefs, it's still hard to watch and hard to relive. And we've sort of talked about moments in that game and talked about things in that game, and it's still real bitter for everyone. So to have that round one, it's pretty sick, eh? And it's always nice. That's one of our biggest games, eh? The Battle of the Bombays. And I
yeah,
didn't know how big it was until I came to the Chiefs
yeah.
and they talked about the Battle of the Bombays and the grudge match between us and them. So yeah, it's pretty sick, especially being Eden Park too.
Yeah, hard. I was gonna say, do you
Mm.
guys watch back, like, obviously it's a final, so you're not really looking back like you do week to week in terms of
Yeah,
review, but,
yeah.
like, personally, did you watch that game back? I guess the coaches probably do, but
Yeah, I didn't play that final. I got concussed the week before.
yeah,
Um, but nah, every final that I've been in, I haven't watched. I played in the yeah, even the Bay of Plenty Auckland, Bay of Plenty Wellies final. I haven't watched it back. It just hurts, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the only games that I haven't watched back because you're just like,
yeah,
yeah, go.
yeah. I reckon finals are
Yeah,
weird too, like, before you know it, the game's over, and you're like, "What the hell just even happened?" Even if you win them, it's like you don't even remember.
bro. That's when we lost against the Crusaders at home. Fuck, that was the exact feeling of when it finished. I was like, holy shit, all of it's gone.
Mm,
Like that's over, and we didn't get our goal, and you're just sitting there like watching the Crusaders take the trophy. You're just like, holy fuck, that's
yeah,
just happened. And I remember just saying it to him, and I was like, bro, what the hell just happened?
yeah.
It was crazy, bro. Yeah, that's usually what happens. And I haven't won a fucking final, so I'm 0-5, bro, in my professional
Oh,
career of
wow.
finals. So it'd be nice to freaking win one. Tell you that
You
much.
do. You deserve one, right? And the squad this
I hope
year
so, man.
is stacked again. You get
Mm,
Samasoni Taukei'aho back as well, and no
yeah,
doubt he's just chomping at the bit to rip in.
yeah.
How's he been at preseason?
He's been good, bro. He's into training now. He just looks huge, bro. I remember they did some the All Blacks did some training and did some contact. I was talking to Quinn, he was like, bro, I can't even tackle this guy. He's just a ball of fucking meat, bro. And just
Yeah.
like he runs like I don't know, he's got this mindset where he just can go through brick walls. So he's chomping at the bit. I think he's excited to get back to playing. I'm not sure when he'll be back, but yeah, he's back in full training now.
Mm,
So yeah, it'd be nice to have him back. And I think he's missed footy as well. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Apart from, I guess, Wallace, and there's still a chance he comes back. That there's,
Mm,
it's a fairly settled squad, bro. Is that cool
yeah.
going into each year? I guess just with that continuity, combinations, even just playing with your mates and developing that further.
Yeah, I reckon. It's my sixth year in the chain. So sixth year. Um, and a lot of the core group that came in that year is sort of stayed the same.
Mm,
I came in with like Quinn, Toops, myself, Kel Trask. There's a lot of us who are still in the team now. So we built a lot of synergy. And we were once sort of those young guys who came in, and now you look at guys like Quinn, who's an All Black, and Toops, who's now he was nominated for All Black of the Year. Like everyone's flourished, and we're sort of at that age now where bro, I'm getting called uncle, like unk status. And I'm
What?
like, holy, this young dude's been calling me Koro. I'm 25, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck. And when I'm hearing that shit, I'm like, God damn it.
Nah,
But
that's
like
not play on. That's not play on,
that's
bro.
way off to me, bro. And it's just like I used to be the young guy, all
Yeah.
these young guys, and now I'm talking to these like 18, 19 year olds, and they're like, how old are you, bro? I'm like 25. They're like, bang. And I'm like, bro, someone's gonna get a hiding if you say that again.
Yeah, it's one of those
It's
things,
crazy,
bro. When
bro.
you're 18, 25 seems old as, then when you're 25, you don't feel old, right?
Bro, and I just refuse to believe I'm old.
No, you're
But
not.
these guys are coming at me like, hey, Koro, hey, Unc. And I'm like, fuck.
None of that. None of that. Bro, last year was a big year for you, and no doubt you have further ambitions this year. Are you like a goal setter? Do you think about that stuff much, or are you more just a rock up, give it your best, and what will be type of operator?
I'm probably a mixture, and I think I try not to like I set goals, but I try not to let the outcome um, overtake my mindset really, and I just try and win every week when they come and take every opportunity that I get really. So yeah, there's definitely a goal at the end of the year. That's to be an All Black. It's been the same goal since I've first got into well, it's just been a dream for ages. So
Mm.
that's still the overriding sort of goal. And I think if I just win every week and just take it week by week, then it'll take care of itself. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's all I can control, really. Yeah.
How was that All Blacks 15 tour, bro? Because it looks like quite a fun group, right? It's acknowledgement you're right on the verge, but you guys went
Mm,
to what, Munster? You went to some cool places and no doubt had a good time as well.
that was unreal. A few Guinnesses in Ireland.
Yeah.
Munster, bro, they know how to set up footy. Like the crowd was unreal. The people were great. The weather was shit. I
Yeah.
reckon that's probably why they just drink all this fucking Guinness.
Yeah.
But like the weather was like shit. But the people just were so lovely. I reckon that's what made Ireland so nice. And like we were warming up, and they had like this light show, and they were playing Zombie. And I was like, "Fuck, this is crazy." And yeah, it's a cool experience. It's cool because we're all good rugby players, and um, it's still quite a serious level, high level of footy, but it's not quite the All Blacks. So
Mm,
it's a lot more chill, not as high pressure from what I've heard, really. So it's nice to have that sort of balance of playing good footy, playing sort of international footy, but still being like 2 weeks on tour with
yeah.
fucking some of the great people, you know?
Yeah. What's it like having to jam with dudes you've never played with? And you have like a small window, right, to get to know each
Yeah,
other. So
yeah.
is it more just like hard out structures or is it just do your thing and it'll come together?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a balance. Like you said, we're only in for a week before we have to play, and everyone's coming from different areas and different parts, and you just sort of have to buy into what the coaches bring. And I think the coaching staff we had this year was awesome, and they sort of brought a nice, simple plan, and it allows everyone to just play footy. You have a little bit of structure, but everyone's there for a reason. Everyone's got good skill sets, and we all have come from different backgrounds, but it sort of just opens us up to just be ourselves and do what really got us there in the first place. Really.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fantasy Super Rugby, bro. It comes into play this year, and as a fan, I'm fizz because I love my fantasy NRL, NBA,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. Like, how aware of it are you? Have the lads been bantering about it?
Yep, yep. They haven't put out. I've never done fantasy, but everyone does fantasy league.
Yeah,
Like I'm probably one of like four people in the Chiefs that don't do fantasy league. There's a massive flipping thing they got going on, so they're quite keen. I don't think we can play though. We can't play personally.
yeah, that would probably make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. I don't. We've got that, and I think we've got Rugby 25, the game
sick.
coming out. So fuck. They better respect my game and put me. I don't know how it's going to work, but apparently there's only a couple people that are like 10 mil,
Yeah,
and the rest are, yeah, less so.
yeah. I was gonna ask because I've been told one price, and that's Hoskins. So Tutu is 8.5 mil, and he's the
Oh,
most
yeah.
expensive back rower. So with that in mind, bro, what do
Oh.
you want to see for yourself?
6'5", chocolate, 116 kilo, fit, fast, mobile. decent looking. What do you reckon? If he's 8.5, I reckon they're gonna disrespect me. I'd be happy with like 5. I
Yeah.
reckon 5.
I was gonna say
5 mil.
6, bro. Close to
Yeah.
6,
You say
surely.
6, I'll say 5.
Easy.
Yeah.
And then what about your fishing mate, Curdy Eklund? What do you reckon he'd be?
He can't fuck. Oh, sorry.
No,
He's
you
flipping. Yeah, that motherfucker.
yeah.
No, he's What about Kurt? What do you reckon, Kurt? I don't know. He's about 40, pushing on 40. Knees are giving out. He's got a tight groin at the moment, so I don't know. What can he do? He's scored a few tries though. He's
Yeah.
scored a few tries. I think one year he was like top try scorer of the Blues. I reckon he'd probably be the same then, I reckon. 5, 6.
Yeah.
If he's more than me, I'll be so gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be so gutted.
Rugby 25, bro. Out of 100, your player ranking. Like, do you guys care about that stuff? If you see
Oh,
it
I
and you're
care
like,
so deeply, bro. I care so deeply. I care so deeply because I played rugby. I grew up in
yeah,
that, and I remember going like, "Fuck, it'd be so cool to be in a game." And now we just did our photos and like the hell with these cameras, and then they showed me the photo of what I look like in the game, which is fuck. I reckon looks mean.
yeah,
But yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm
mm,
saying if I'm in the 80s, I'll be happy. But do they respect my? Do they watch the game deeply?
yeah,
I feel like I do a lot of unsung work that goes, into molding myself as a player. But do they really check that?
mm.
I reckon they're gonna disrespect the hell out of me and give me like a 66 or something. If they do, I'm gonna be so gutted.
Bro, would
I'm gonna
you?
make multiple phone calls, bro.
Yeah, how do you explain that to your family and your mates? Because obviously they want to play as you, and you're like, what?
Literally, bro. Literally, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Is like, how am I supposed to look at my kids when I have a 66 rating? How am I supposed to explain to them that their dad's actually better than 66? I'm gonna be making phone calls. Honestly, if I'm in the 60s, I'm calling whoever runs the cutter, and I'm gonna be sending them clips of training, me training my training clips,
Bro,
my highlight package.
I'll start an appreciation society on Facebook,
Yeah.
bro. That'll get it
Oh,
humming.
100. Yeah.
That'll get it humming. Last
Save me, bro.
Last question, bro. Obviously, there's been this big NBA trade this week, which has got
Bro.
everyone in the world of sport talking. Luka and AD. And straight away, as a sports fan, I'm like, they've managed to dominate Super Bowl week, and it's the NBA.
Yeah,
So,
bro.
so how do we, as Super Rugby, dominate when the competition isn't on? Would you like to see like a trade window? So, say there's someone on the bench who would start in another franchise, like the Blues have 5 first 5s that would
Bro.
start somewhere else. Are you open to like a trade window?
Hell no. Hell no. We talk about that heaps. It's like imagine you wake up, bro, and you get a phone call from your agent like, "Hey, man, you've just got traded to the draw.
Yeah,
Like you're going to
yeah,
Fiji."
yeah.
I'll be like, "What?" Bro, it's so crazy, bro. I was thinking about that too. We always discuss like, "Fuck, imagine if there's trade windows for us, and you
Mm,
one day you're here, and the next day you're in Canberra, you're
yeah,
just gone." I do not want that. That's so scary.
yeah,
But it would get the people going. I reckon it'll fucking change the game, but I don't want it to. I change it when I'm not here.
yeah.
When I'm gone, change it.
Nah, fair, fair. You mentioned Canberra there, bro. That just triggered me too. Aussie teams look pretty sharp this year because there's
Yeah,
no Melbourne Rebels. Like, do you think this comp's going to be insanely close? Moana have Artie, the Drua
yeah,
have like 32 internationals, and they're so hard to
yeah.
beat at home. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a logjam.
I reckon. Yeah, with those guys moving from the Rebels to other teams, fucking the Reds smacked Bristol like
Yeah,
81-20 something,
I saw that.
which I was like, whoa, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think every year, like since the comps changed with the South African teams, it's becoming closer and closer.
Mm,
Um, but I think this year especially, like there can only be so much you can take from as a franchise when you're having those sorts of games. So I think every year they're getting better, and every year you're going to see more and more players flourish. And I think with the Rebels being gone and all those players sort of branching out to new teams, it's going to be interesting. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see how they get on.
mm.
But fuck yeah, they'll be good, and it's going to be good for the competition as well. Helps
Hard
it grow.
Hard
Mm.
out, hard out. Well, appreciate your time, bro. Obviously, all the best this weekend, but more so next weekend. I'll be there at Eden Park, so maybe I catch up
Gotcha,
for
bro.
a cold one after if the
Yes, bro.
results go your
100%.
way. But all the
Yeah,
best,
yeah.
bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you, bro. I hope I'm fucking playing. But
Surely,
yes, if I'm not playing, I'll meet you in the stands, bro. Bring that Eno.
easy.
And
There he is.
yeah,
There he
that's
is.
it, bro.
The
Thank you,
man,
brother.
legend, bro.
Cheers, you, bro.
The wait is over. Of course, team lists are out. Our first team list Tuesday in what feels like an eternity. So lots to run through there, especially for Warriors fans. Before we tuck into that, though, of course, some NRL news. There's two topics I wanted to touch on there. Roosters, they've come out, Nick Politis, and said they are out of the race to sign Dylan Brown. He set his value at $1.2 million in order to leave Parramatta. And I still think that staying at Para is probably the most likely outcome there. But great to hear the Roosters are out. Hopefully the Warriors are still in. That would be great for us. I love that thought of just pairing them up with Lukey Metcalf, both in similar age. I reckon there'd be a hissing combination, but the Chooks no longer on the market, which I found interesting. They've got a shit ton of cash for next year, so surely they're eyeing up a couple big dogs and already in conversations with them. The more I think about it, the more it seems logical that a Kalen Ponga or someone similar would be going there, but watch this space for sure. The second piece of news, Zion Mai'uu, of course, this young gun coming through the Warriors ranks. Unfortunately, he's been granted an early release and has since signed a 2-year deal with the Bulldogs, left for more opportunities. And yeah, that is a tough one to cop as Warriors fans, of course. Perhaps he's been offered that more regular spot in the Doggies 17 this year as a part of their middle rotation, and I can understand that completely. A young lad, got a taste of NRL footy last year in that Anzac game, and now he's hungry for more. And at the Warriors, he's probably behind a fair few players in the middle of the paddock still. When you look at our forward depth, it's pretty damn strong. And when you also look at the young lads coming through, Dimitri, Luka, Laban, Zion was probably the fourth in terms of those rankings. Still, in saying that, I was so fizzed to watch this bloke's game develop over the next couple years. A great human being, trains incredibly hard, runs as hard as it comes. He can back fence it with the best of them. He's got that angry, aggressive enforcer mindset around him too. So while the loss this year isn't that big, long term, I just hope this isn't one of those ones that we come to regret. I do agree, though, with the Warriors allowing him to go and seek more opportunities. When you think about it, it sucks to lose him now, but say in 2 years' time, because we haven't blocked his pathway there, he comes back to the club and says, I would love to return home once he's established himself as a regular first grader. That would be the ultimate scenario, so fingers crossed that is how it plays out. Him and Leo Thompson together next year could be a crazy little duo too. But it does mean now we have 3 roster spots open. I see Tohu Harris has been medically retired too, which is a double-ended sword. The Warriors have to pay out his contract, but it does mean that we get that money back on the salary cap. So we have the chance, about $1 million, I believe, now to play with there. We need to fill 3 roster spots. I do believe the club is still wanting to fill them internally, so keen to see who we go after there. But yeah, sad to see Zion go, especially for the long term. Immediately, I don't think we'll struggle that much from this outcome, but I am really keen to see how he goes at the Dogs as well. On to Team List Tuesday, though. Let's get back onto the positives, of course. 9:30 Friday night, the season gets underway, and what better way to start the competition than with the best team in the comp, the mighty Warriors taking on the Cronulla Sharks. And it appears we're going big. We're chasing the 100k for winning the preseason challenge, taking the opportunity to blow some cobwebs out after a long preseason, let the lads lace up the boots and get a taste of footy early. Remember, we play this week and next week, then we're off to Vegas. So I like this logic from Webby. Add to that, the All-Stars game is next weekend, where I expect we'll have a couple in the mix for the Māori All-Stars as well. So we'll have a couple missing for that game, which makes this one even more important for our top side to play some minutes together. As a fan, this team named on Friday night makes me incredibly excited, and I can't wait to watch the boys rip and tear, of course. At the back, we have Chance Nickel Klukstad, Mr. Safe as House is the workhorse on the wings, Dallin Watene-Zalesniak, the old snack, the flying mullet, loves a back fence kick return, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the other flank, the king of calves. And I see a lot of people questioning this positional switch for 2 reasons. One, they still want Roger at fullback, which I think people semi-need to move on for. We've clearly shown last year, Chance is our number 1 option. Tane is our very strong number 2 option if Chance does pick up a niggle or has to miss games. Roger, probably your 3rd option, which is just shows our depth and how strong we are in that position. He's still an unreal fullback, but I love him on the wing. The second thing I see people questioning is that selection combination of him on the wing, which semi-blows my mind. I think he is going to be the perfect winger for us. His work off yardage, off the back of kick returns to start our sets is going to be unreal. Picture this, a team kicks long to us, down the middle of the paddock. Chance catches her on the full, hissing carry, some PCMs there. Then we get Roger with those fast feet up against middle forwards, left, right, goosey good night. They'll be rushing up trying to bring line speed and jam him, and he'll just turn on the footwork. He's also a possibility there for a line break, which would be hissing. Then you get Dell off the back fence with zero regard for his brain cells. We're going to see 200 metre plus Roger per game again. It's almost like Brian To'o season has come to the Warriors, but with line break potential. This is that Penrith back three type of method here, which will see us get great momentum and field position early in our sets. It'll take pressure off our middles and allow us to win the arm wrestle each week, which we really struggled to do last year. So I love this back three, and I think it's going to lead to great results for us in the centres. Young Ali Naitoa, of course, fresh off tormenting the Sharkies in that final game of the season last year. They'll still be having PTSD off some of his carries from that game, and there's rumours Nico Hines, he's sitting this one out, still hasn't recovered after being turned into a turnstile by the bloke himself. Then in the other centre spot, you have Adam Pompey. I believe Rocco's still not ready just yet with that injury, so Wets gets to wear the 4, a bloody good option there. In the halves, Tamare Martin and Luki Met get the opportunity to partner up in the 6 and 7. CHT and Tanner Boy both carrying niggles, so they weren't available for this game, and interestingly, it's Luki Met that will wear the 7, the start of the post-SJ era, and I 100% believe he is the man to wear this jersey. He wants it. He's put his hand up and said he wants it. That's exactly what you want from the bloke to lead us around the paddocks, and now he's going to show it that he deserves this opportunity. I think he's going to turn every post a winner, and it's coming up in my hot take shortly, but I think he's going to have a massive year. Love the thought of this combo. Then in the 8 jersey, me oh my, I'm looking forward to this. James Fisher-Harris. Scary, scary hours for any opposition middles. That post he put up, the Once Were Warriors soundtrack, the caption, bigger than me. Is there anyone scarier in the comp? I highly doubt it. The silent assassin, Fish, he's going to take our team to another level on and off the field. I genuinely reckon he could go down as our greatest signing in history, and I'm fizzing to see him make his Warriors debut. That right there alone is bums on seats stuff. Wade Egan Park in the 9, Mitchie Barnett in the 10, listed as skipper on our NRL.com team list as well, so if you're a bit of a keen observer, you might have noticed that one. Jacob Laban in the 11, the young buck gets a chance in the second row. Curdy Capes is the other second row with Aaron Clark in the 13, which means walks off the bench, and I was thinking similar logics in my predictions a couple weeks back. I really rate this call. Aaron Clark doing the tough stuff in the first 25-30 minutes, and then unleashing the impact of walks off the Rimu. Our interchange bench stacked. Dimitri Vaimolga, Marata Neil Kore, Moala Graham Tolfa, Seo Kali, who's an exciting young prospect in the outside backs, Big Ed Kossi, the Mad Butcher in jersey 19. Even in a preseason game, the club doesn't wear 19. That's a classy touch. In jerseys 20 and 21, perhaps a bit of a glimpse into the future, years to come for our halves duo in Luke Hanson and Jet Cleary, both ex-young Penrith lads and both extremely talented. In particular, Luke Hanson. Love what I've seen from him over the last year or so. Tain Tuopiki looking to push his way into a spot in the 17 and the 23. Dayon Omitoani, not sure if I said that last name 100% correctly, but hopefully I did, because he's a real underrated pickup from the Panthers, a classy winger, played SG ball at the Warriors back in 2020, I think it was, moved over to Penrith for opportunities. Great to see him home. He's someone that could come into factor later in the season if we suffer injuries out wide, so keep an eye out for him in jersey 23, 24. Bunty R4, perhaps this Zion leaving pushes his stakes up even more in 25. Another young gun who recently extended with the club, and I'm excited to see how he progresses this this year. Eddie Iramia Toeava, 26, Sam Healy, new recruit. I got big raps on him. 27, Dill Walks. 28, Tanner Stowers-Smith. Another of these young middles pushing their way through. And then in 29, Freddie Lussick. So not playing at first glance, running the eye over that. You got Rocco Berry, Tanner Boyd, CHT, Jackson Ford, Leka Halasima, and Tommy Ale. But still, this team is so stacked. You'd have to think that starting 13 is pretty close to our round one starting lineup as well. Maybe Marata in for Laban. Injuries aside, that's probably one of the only changes they might look to make. Again, flexes our depth too. That's 29 first-grade quality players right there. Excited to see how they all go. I really do think people are sleeping on our squad this year. The Sharkies team, on the other hand, not of the same strength as us. No Adam Whanua-Blake, no Nico Hines, Cam McInnes, or Jesse Ramey, and aka the Ramen Noodle. And to be fair, they still have a few big names on show, though, so they're not exactly to be taken lightly. Will Kennedy, Sione Katoa, Kale Iro, Braden Hamlin-Uele, Sifa Talakai, and Tom Hazelton. We should just outclass them across the paddock, though, and in particular, outside of their starting lineup, I reckon that's where we get them. Because like I said before, we just got depth for days. Your other game, Panthers versus Raiders. Keen to see IPAP lace up for the Rith. Apart from that, though, the McLean brothers getting a trot. That's interesting, but nothing too groundbreaking in that game. I'll still watch it. Absolutely, but it really is one for the purists on your Saturday night. Friday night, that's certainly your primetime game this week. Cannot wait. Finally, before we move on from your NRL chat for this week, I just wanted to give you my mild, medium, and hot takes for the Warriors for 2025. I've been teasing these for a couple of weeks. First up, my mild, I reckon it's the year of the young bucks. Ali, Dimitrik, Leka, and Laban in particular are all going to really establish themselves as star first graders this year, with another young lad, 21-year-old new recruit Sam Healy, also playing his way into the 17, I reckon, throughout the season. If you haven't seen his highlights, again, I recommend you go check them out. The bloke is a gun, loves a fast ruck, great data out of dummy half. I reckon he could help unlock even another element to our attack. My medium take, the lads will play finals footy this year, and this season will have a similar feeling to that 2023 season. Of course, the Aussie experts, they're giving us nothing. We're coming in as underdogs here, especially across the ditch. But our squad is so strong. We've still got room for 3 more roster improvements where we lock down some young guns. There's a new culture, a bit of a change of leadership in amongst the team. They've been working incredibly hard in pre-season. Webby and the coaching staff no doubt learned some lessons from last year. Fish in the mixer too. We've recruited well. I just reckon the stage is set for a big year. I have us in the 8, which I'll give you my 8 in the coming weeks. But I reckon we're going to shock a lot of teams this year. And I see some haters, even in New Zealand, on Facebook saying we're no chance. Pull your rugby league head in. We are definitely playing September football, in my humble opinion. Then my hot take, which some of you might not actually think is that hot. Some of you will think it's out the gate. But the player who I think is going to be the Simon Mannering medalist this year and is also going to finish the season considered as a top 5 player in their position, Luka Metcalf. For me, if healthy, Lukey has everything. Speed, skill, work ethic, an underrated kicking game, which he's going to show off this year. He's got X factor. He has that opportunity to step up and lead the team in the halves. He's wanted this role and this responsibility. I reckon 2025 is going to be a massive year for Lukey, and I strongly believe if he can stay healthy, he's going to be considered a superstar of the game by the end of the year, possibly even State of Origin chat, and he's going to take home the Warriors MVP this year. So there's my mild, medium, and hot takes for this year. First, let me know your thoughts on those. Flick me a DM, post them in the comments if you're listening on YouTube, and flick me your mild, medium, and hot takes as well. Always keen to hear. But footy is here, baby. The mighty Wars kick us off Friday night. How bloody good. Can't wait to park up on the couch, crack open a couple of tins, ride home some try-scorer multis. You just can't beat it. NBA, absolute chaos, and this is the perfect example of why having trade deadlines, mid-season, pre-season in sports, it's so beneficial. Literally, the Super Bowl is this weekend, but the talk of the sporting world, both in the States, has been around this Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade. They've literally taken the limelight off the biggest sport in America's biggest day. Huge props to the NBA and shout out to the Lakers too. They managed to grab a top 3 player in the NBA in Luka Doncic. No one saw it coming. Literally everyone thought Shams had been hacked when he dropped this news. No one could believe it. And to be honest, I still can't believe it either. And straight away, I just thought, what are the Mavs doing? There were 3 theories that came to mind, and there's been 3 reasonings since as to why they could have possibly made this trade. The first one, it came out, Luka's weight. Of course, he's currently injured at the moment. They're saying he's potentially blown out to 270 pounds, and the Mavs are sick of his lack of conditioning and the effort he puts into his body, both in the preseason and during the season, so they just wanted out on that. The second theory was that the thoughts of a Supermax extension next year scared the new owners. They were too tight to pay him. I believe he's up for $345 million over 5 years. That's US. That's about 615 million New Zealand, over 125-ish mil a season. That's a shit ton of money, but with the cap continually increasing, you'd have to say Luka, he's certainly worth it. The third theory, and this is the one which I think has proven to be the most true, is that the Mavs, they just simply really wanted Anthony Davis. Of course, the new Mavs GM, he used to be Kobe's Nike manager, so he's had a tight relationship with Lakers GM Rob Pelinka and the Lakers organization for at least the last 20 years. He worked with AD at Nike as well, Jason Kidd. He was also an assistant coach on the Lakers roster, I think, when they won that COVID championship in the bubble, so clearly he loves AD as well. Is this just the guy that they think they needed? And in terms of a win now move, it could prove to be a decent little trade over the long term, though, the longevity. Surely this one comes back to bite them in the ass over the next 4 or 5 years. It does make a little more sense that they didn't shop him around, if that logic is true, and AD is simply the target that they wanted. It just seems wild, though, that they didn't approach anyone else, and in fact, they approached Lakers GM Rob Pelinka in January, asked him if he would be interested in a trade for Luka, and apparently Rob Pelinka literally laughed and almost fell off his chair thinking that they were joking and that this wasn't possible. So when you're proposing a trade and someone laughs at you straight away, surely that's a sign that you're getting ripped off. I've seen videos of people too going on NBA 2K and trying to make this exact same trade happen, and the PlayStation, the game literally blocks them because it says it's too one-sided in the way of the Lakers. But this really is bizarre, only giving up, say, AD, Max Christie, and 1 draft pick. No offense to Max Christie, but shit, they could have got a haul. When you look at what the Brooklyn Nets got from the New York Knicks for Mikal Bridges, when you look at what the T-Wolves had to pay Utah for someone like Rudy Gobert, I think literally every player in the NBA would have been available to trade for, other than maybe Victor Wembanyama and possibly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But you'd have to think, shit, if Luka's up for grabs, then everyone via Wemby probably would have been in and available for them to get. Instead, though, they settle on AD, who still is, a top 25, top 30 player in the league, a top 5 big man, extremely solid defensively, so I can see what they're thinking. Last year in the finals, they got cooked defensively, and a large majority of that was at the hands of Luka not playing much D. But when you look at how they got to the finals, the bro backpacked, and yes, they've got Kyrie, who was handy, but he disappeared come that finals time. Luka carried them. Now they're going to run an offense around Kyrie with AD, which will be hissing pick and roll. They'll have a good D, but shit, they're going to miss Luka's X factor. I think last year he averaged, 30, 10, and 9 across the season and was in line for the MVP too. I just still can't believe it. As a Lakers fan, though, absolutely stoked. I now get to see Luka and LeBron team up. Can't forget Bronny James in the mixer too. And I'm also extra fizzed because we just bought tickets to Lakers vs Knicks early doors in March at the Crypto Arena, and now I get to see my GOAT in LeBron and Luka at the same time take on Brunson, Cat, and those baskets from the Knicks. What a first game of the NBA to ever go to in my life. I'm fizzing for that. Shout out to the Lake Show. Really interested to see how this plays out for the rest of the season. If the Mavs win it this year, then that trade will be semi-defendable, but even then you'd find it hard. Geez, the Lakers, they literally got the face of their franchise for the next 10 years post-LeBron. How bloody good is that? Of course, that wasn't the only big trade as well. Fox to the Spurs. Love this for San Antonio and Wemby there. They didn't have to give up Castle, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, or any of their young assets either. It seems like the Bulls, who gave up Levine to the Kings in order for this trade to happen, they got fleeced too, and no one's talking about that. I think the best player they got back for Levine was Zach Collins. Apart from them both having the same first name, Zach and Zach, they well and truly got gypped. So shout out to the Bulls there. Kings, though, did pretty well. Malik Monk now going to be running the point for them. Interested to see how they progress, but really keen to see how the Spurs go from here too. Only 3.5 games out of the play-in at the moment. 35-ish games left in the season. Geez, there's a chance they could play their way into the playoffs. They would be a tough beat, I reckon, with Fox, Chris Paul, the old vet there to guide them around, Wemby, and those young, talented assets. Jumping over to the Super Bowl, of course, this Monday she goes down. I'll be at Full-Time Sports Bar, running the cutter there. If you haven't got your tickets yet, I believe there's still some available. Very limited numbers, though, so get yourself in there. I'll talk more on the Super Bowl in the punting section, but in a nutshell, I think the Eagles are the better, more complete team in this game, but I think Mahomes is the best player and the best quarterback in the game, and this just screams of another really tight Mahomes victory where he just gets a chance to win it down the stretch, gets the ball with a couple minutes to spare, and just leads KC to a dub, and they become the first ever team to go 3 straight. Him and Andy Reid, they're just built for big stages, and as much as I'd like to see Saquon get a ring in this game, I just can't really convince myself that Kansas City aren't going to go the 3-peat, which would be crazy stuff right there. UFC, unfortunate. Israel Adesanya copped another loss, his 4th one in his last 5 fights, which if you told me even 18 months ago that that was going to happen, I would have laughed at you. I wouldn't have believed it. And to be fair, he looked good too. First round, thought he looked really sharp. Second round, started it strong too. Caught a bit of an eye poke. They stopped the fight for like 1 second, the ref did, and then Izzy shook it off really quickly. About 5 seconds after that, he was on the canvas. So I do have to wonder there if maybe that impaired his vision a little. He should have taken a bit more time to recover from that. It was a heck of a shot though from Imavov, who certainly deserved this win. Jeez, he's got heavy hands, concrete in the gloves, never been knocked out, and he claimed a big scalp of Izzy. I think he came into this 4th or 5th ranked, so this is a huge win for him. Maybe he gets a title shot now, but interesting to see what Izzy's next move is. 35 years old. I don't think he's going to retire. I just want to see him back in the winner's circle, one of the greatest to ever lace him up. I'm a huge fan, so hopefully whoever he fights next, it's a positive outcome for the bloke. There's lots of chat as well, sticking to the CKB stable, that Kai Kara-France has got a title fight locked in against Pantoja, UFC 314 in Miami in April too. Volk is the rumoured co-main as well, so keep an eye out on an announcement for that one shortly. If that is the case, then hopefully Kai Kara-France can bring the strap back to Auckland. Then, like me and Navajo touched on last week, we get an Auckland card. That would be unreal. Kai defending his belt on home turf. Massive scenes. UFC 312 this weekend. Drickus versus Strickland is your main event. I see Drickus getting the dub there. Pretty underwhelming card. Lacking Trans-Tasman talent for a card that's just across the ditch. 0 Kiwis in the mixer. Pretty piss poor. Will I still buy it? Yes, I will. Because the UFC, you just know, whatever fights they dish up, whoever's on the card, she's always going to be bloody entertaining. So I look forward to tucking the teeth into that on me Sunday. Fire up the TAB app and let's have a Tyson gamble responsibly, of course, but plenty of lucrative markets to tuck the teeth into this weekend. And of course, the NFL Super Bowl, that's your main one. And in the States, this is probably the biggest single day of sports betting in their calendar year. I know lots of Kiwis get around it too, so let's see if we can pick out some winners. As I mentioned before, I like the Chiefs. I've got to back Patty Mahomes here. He's that single factor that'll get me to spend my hard-earned bickies on him. him. I like the -1.5 at $1.94 on that line as well. I reckon that's about perfect. I think they win by a field goal. Going to be incredibly tight down to the wire, but Paddy McClutch to get the job done. For your touchdowns, Jalen Hurts. He scored 10 in his last 13 games. It's been tush-push season. $1.90 he's paying for one here. $6.50 for first touchdown scorer too. That is incredibly appealing. His running mate, Saquon Barkley, one man's trash is another man's treasure. The Giants didn't want him. Now he's in a Super Bowl. He scored 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games. The Chiefs, they've allowed for the 10th most rushing yards across the NFL this season, so they can leak a couple. I reckon he's a great shot. Add to that as well, it's his birthday. Surely that's an omen for an anytime meet. He's paying $1.50 to dot, $4.40 for first touchdown scorer, and him and Hurts combined to score 2 on that combined touchdown scorer market. $2.10, that's juicy stuff. Kareem Hunt, one of the great Browns. Good to see him in the bowl. He's scored in each of his last 4 games. He's paying $2.35 anytime. $9 for first, which is hissing value. Scored first in their AFC Championship game against Buffalo 2 weeks ago. He's that guy they bring in on short yardage. Of course, Isaiah Pacheco's there too, but more and more lately, they've been rolling with Hunt, so back him in on the punt. Hunt on the punt. Don't be a C word worthy. $2.55 anytime for him. Don't mind that too. The gas man, he's Patty Mahomes' go-to on those long receiving plays when he wants to throw some darts and break some hearts. Worthy's the bloke. So I don't mind jumping on board him. He's probably my 4th best option though, behind Hunt, Saquon, and Jalen Hurts for your player props. Got 2 of those, which you might want to chuck on your same game multis just to make them a little more lucrative. Maybe you go KC -1.5 into Saquon Barkley, 100 plus rushing yards. 9 of his last 10 games, he's covered that line. The Chiefs' D is good, but Cook had 13 carries for 85 yards against them in the conference championships. $1.42, multi-leg right there. I also don't mind Hollywood Brown receiving yards. AJ Brown, 60 plus. They're going to have to throw, and I think there's a chance they throw early too, just to try throw KC off their defensive plan, because everyone's expecting it just to be truck nut all day long. 96 yards he had against the Commanders, $1.46 to cover 60 plus. Another multi-builder right there for your niche options. And of course, I mentioned before, she's a big day on the Carmichael punt. The TAB literally have, 3 or 4 pages of betting options for you to tuck your teeth into if you are a real purist. I know some people, though, Super Bowl, that's the only game of football they watch all year. Half of them just tune in for the halftime show, which should be bloody good as well. Kendrick Lamar, feet scissor. That's world-class entertainment right there. Oddsy plays They Not Like Us will be plummeting. Surely he's going to take a couple shots at Drake on one of the world's biggest stages. But coin toss. This is a bet I always love getting on. If you can give me an option where I can tip home a winner or a loser before a game even kicks off, I'm well and truly invested. I've crunched some numbers here. It's been heads 3 out of 4 of the last Super Bowls. You'd expect it then. By odds, by logic, it's a 50-50 chance. 3 out of the last 4. Surely it's time that Tails lives up to its name and never fails. $1.95 for the coin toss to land on Tails. I'm jumping aboard that. Gatorade colour. Can't punt on that at the TAB at time of recording. Not sure if that's going to be an option they chuck up on Monday, though. So I'll chuck you some odds there as well. Purple. That's been the last colour of the Gatorade for the Gatorade shower on the head coach post-game in your last 2 Super Bowls. Of course, the Chiefs, they won both of those. They don't want to jinx it. Omenry, they believe in luck. They're not just all of a sudden going to change anything. They'll be running back, rinse and repeat what they've done for the last 2 years to the T, and that'll include your Gatorade colour. So purple, if you're going to have a punt on that, then that is the way to go. Another option, not up at time of recording, but something I think could likely happen. Kansas City get the win. Travis Kelce proposes to old mate T Swizzle. Jeez, that would be a real Romeo and Juliet story. Excuse the pun. It's a love story. Baby, just say yes. NRL preseason. It's dusty. It's true degenerate stuff, but we're absolutely going there. Can't wait to have a flutter on your NRL footy. Friday night code 2. Sharks $2.44. Warriors $1.52. The line is 5.5, and I'm going to gobble that up. Warriors -5.5. Hot to trot. Over at Shark Park, we get the job done. In terms of your winning teams and margins, Warriors 13 plus, best backed at $2.80. Love that. 1 to 12, 3 buckaroos. Our team's going to be too strong, though. Hopefully, we blow them off the park. You know me, Warriors 13 plus all day long for your anytime try scorers. And this can be tough in your preseason code, so bet here with caution, because a lot of these players that are starting will only play 40 minutes max, I reckon, and then they're going to sub off. There's 29 named for the Warriors for this game. There's going to be some rest and rotation, couple rigs blowing the rust off, but then they'll roll the interchange bench. So bet with caution on your try scorers. And saying that, second half, because those players aren't available to punt on at the moment in your try scorer markets, live betting could prove to be lucrative once those players get their boarding pass into the game. But Dallin, best back, $1.55, the flying mullet. He scores tries for fun. Roger, next best back, so your two wicked wingers at $1.68. Both great shouts there. In terms of some value plays, all over $2. I like Ali Naitoa, $2.45, our strike centre. Luka Met, $2.55. That's a nice option too. Always scores against Cronulla. Still got that chip on his shoulder, so hopefully he can dot down. Our starting second rowers, Kurt Capewell, $3.60, and Jacob Laban, the young buck, $4.25. Also good coin. And someone who is up on the odds market, isn't starting though, and paying overs, Marata Niokore, $7.25. If he comes on at second row, that's a steal. If he plays prop, not so much. But if he's in that second rower role, punching holes off maybe a young Luke Hanson, Jet Cleary, could still be Luke Metcalf, Tamaide Martin, $7.25 second rower special. Say Leslie Ray RC. The second game, I'll also be punting on that too on your Sat D. She's a bit of a poo slinger, but I'll be getting on the Panthers for sure. $1.46 for them. Raiders $2.75. I believe this game's at Shark Park too. So a bit of a preseason challenge. Double header. How good is that for your try scorers? That's where there's money to be made. The McLean brothers are your best backed. I'm jumping on Casey McLean here to score 2 or more at $3.25, fresh off a rugby league double or triple. Or did he even score 4? I can't remember. In his debut for the Kiwis up against PNG. The bloke is a try scoring machine, and I reckon he starts the season off on a high with a double meat pie. Super Rugby. Some future bets for you. Those markets are up now, and odds are actually up too for round 1. But I'll tuck into those next week, of course, on the week once the teams are announced. I do want to give you some futures to ride home, though, because I love jumping on board then. The pick the finalist markets, I reckon she's a repeat of last year's grand final and next week's round 1 game, actually. Blues versus Chiefs, that's paying $3.25 to be the final. Blues to win it, back-to-back at $2.75. Chiefs at $3.20. You can pick them from there. Your top 6 options, I like the Drua here at $2. I think that's good value. And hear me out. Of course, you can go your standards and make a little multi there. Blues, Chiefs, Crusaders, they'll bounce back. Brumbies will be in there. But I like the Drua here at $2. I think they're going to sneak in to your top 6. Remember, she's top 6 this year, not top 8. A real rigmarole with the old competition draw. But I reckon the chase is going to be tight at that bottom 6 mark. There's going to be a lot of teams fighting it out to get in. I like the draw here, though, simply on the fact that 8 out of their 14 games are home this year. Last year, they went 0 from 8 away and 6 from 7 at home. This year, they get 8 at home, 6 away. I think they banked 7 of those 8 games. If last year's record is suggests, I believe they've got 32 international players in their squad. So they're pretty stacked. Hard to beat at home. They scrape in at $2. The other team I reckon bolts in this year, the Tars. $2.25, of course. Aussie teams, they've gone down now from 5 to 4. No more Rebels. They've been fucked off. The Force still hanging on by the skin of their sacks. Lucky they've got a rich owner. But that's meant that the talent has been spread around these Aussie teams, and the Tars, they've been your biggest beneficiary. They've picked up Taniela Tupou, guys like Andrew Callaway, of course, Joseph Suali'i, the cross-code superstar, Tane Edmed, the North Harbour 10. I reckon they make it in, paying $2.25, so jump on those two for your try scorers, and you can actually bet on the top try scorer for each team in the comp. I'll give you my New Zealand options for the Blues. Caleb Clark, $2.25 for the Chiefs, and Moni Narawa at $2.50, but keep an eye, maybe you left one on Cortez at $6, support play of doom. He loves scoring under the sticks. Crusaders, Will the Thrill, $2.25, fully healthy. We saw for the All Blacks back into last year, loves himself a meaty. For the Landers, Big Tim Tavatava Nawai Co-Skip jumps out at me at $2.50, and he's your best back. But I see this week he's wearing the 12 jersey, and that's something the Landers might play around with because they have good options now in their back three. So maybe Big Jim, $2.25 in the 12. Probably not the way to go. Winger, value option, Caleb Tangito paying $10. Ex-Westlake lad, moved down there for an opportunity, good footballer. $10 for a winger that I think will be starting. That's pretty good value. Then for the Canes, Naholo, brother of Waisaki, he's your favourite down there. But, again, smoky. I like Cammy Roigard. $5 for some real value. Old Roids, a lot of their attack is going to come through him. They're going to try muscle it up with the pack. They don't really have a 10 until Ruben Love is potentially back. So Roigard to run the cutter in the 9 jersey and score off pick and goes. He's a big body. 5 Huck, yes please. Finally, Moana, their young winger. Kyron Talmorfalau, $5.50 for him too. Julian Savia, best backed. Not too sure about that. I'm going to get on Talmorfalau at $5.50. Six Nations, 3 from 3 on that last week. This week, we're going Italy at home over Wales. Warren Gatland to probably get sacked shortly, unfortunately. France 1-12 on the road against England. And then Scotland. This is your upset at home over Ireland, paying $2.90 head-to-head, $3.80 1-12. If you want some insurance, back them on the line of plus 6.5 at $1.82. But I'm going for it. $3.80, 1-12 on Scotland. Finn Russell to leave us to the promised land. And then last, UFC 312. Just take Drickus in your main event. He's going to get his hand raised and defend the strap for sure. That's us for the pod this week. Apologies, I know, no Q&A. It was a bit weary for time. Actually got a golf event tonight, bit of twilight out at Miriwai. So she's been a bit time stressed. But hey, hope you still enjoyed the pod. Enjoy the sport on this weekend. Kicking off, of course, with the Warriors. Preseason NRL. You got your Super Rugby preseason, NBA, everything that's going on there. No doubt some more crazy trades coming up before the deadline in the next couple of days. We've got the Super Rugby Fantasy app launching as well on Friday, so make sure you get around that. I certainly will be. Probably create a league too, so keep an eye on that one as well. If you haven't jumped in my NRL Fantasy app, make sure you check that out too. Enjoy the Super Bowl on Monday, and I'll catch you back here, same time, same place, next week. How good.